pleasant good evening to the members of the Citizenship Initiative, specially invited guests, curious citizens of Guyana, to the members of the media, and to all who are looking on through electronic means. Now, I want to start off by saying how much I am humbled and I appreciate the offer that was extended to me to come and be a part of this historical moment here in Guyana. And just to the persons, because I would have read some comments in the lead up to today, and I want to say two things in particular. One, I am not here to give a lecture to the people of Guyana. I am rather here to share a story, my story, and that of the Progressive Party. And two, I am not here to tell the people of Guyana how to organize their affairs. I am not versed in that area. This is my first time actually coming to Guyana, so it's a very important moment for me to interact with fellow Caribbean people and to understand some of the challenges being faced here in Guyana and to see how we as a Caribbean, as had been articulated, can move together in one voice, one movement. I am here to share with you the experiences that I hope you would consider in supporting this initiative, the Citizenship Initiative. So my story starts off in 2009. Having been given the opportunity to attend the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Trinidad and Tobago, specifically the Commonwealth Youth Forum. That was the first time I ever had an opportunity to interact with young people from all over the Commonwealth, share with them ideas, listen to stories, and to understand more than anything that there were other young people who wanted change around the world, and who not only just wanted change, but who were willing to get up, stand up, and be counted. And it was in that moment that I was inspired, and I believed that I had an opportunity to contribute to my country, to my region, and to the world at large. That was in 2009. In 2011, I had the opportunity to enroll at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus. It was there I became more, or rather, I understood and saw myself more in the context of being a Caribbean man. Because to see and to appreciate the blending of accents and cultural experiences, the things that make us Caribbean, something that too often we take for granted, I saw myself as a Caribbean man. Over the past 10 years, I've been working in civil society in Trinidad and Tobago, advocating primarily for youth in my country. It has led me to serve on the Commonwealth Youth Council, which represents 1.2 billion young people. I served in the capacity of Vice Chairperson, Policy, Advocacy, and Projects. But that was only the midpoint in terms of my journey, because I recognize that I could have been an effective leader. I had a voice, and I needed to use that voice to represent something that was much bigger than myself. And so I started to consider politics. But as many times we feel, politics may be probably just for old people. Politics only for corrupt people. Politics are only for persons who want to benefit themselves and themselves alone. That's usually the thought that goes along with politics. Yes. But I had a different viewpoint. I saw politics as being a proper medium to offer real change, progress in my country. In 2017, I remember one morning getting a phone call very early, and I answered. And on the other end of that phone call was President Anthony Carmona, then President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Well, I don't think I need to tell you how I flew out of my bed and gulped any kind of coal that mucus was to the back of my throat to make him understand that I was awake and attentive. And he said to me, Nikoli, I've seen the work that you've been doing, and I think that you're onto something. When I thought that no one was looking on, when I thought no one was paying attention to the things that I was doing and to the things that I was saying, there you had the person who occupied the highest office in Trinidad and Tobago listening. And he said to me, there is an opportunity that has arisen in the Senate. Because as you may or may not know, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a bicameral system. So we have the lower house and the upper house, the lower house being the House of Representatives and the upper house being the Senate. And in the Senate, you have government senators, opposition senators, and independent senators. Independent senators are appointed by the president in his or her discretion. And when a senator is either out of the country or sick, there is an opportunity to replace that senator with a temporary senator. And so one of the independent senators was going abroad, and the president there asked me if I would be willing to take up the opportunity to sit as a temporary independent senator at the age of 25. Because in Trinidad and Tobago, in order to be a senator, you have to be 25 and over. And when he said that, I felt in that moment that everything that I was working toward was finally coming to pass. And I remember being sworn in as an independent senator, and the first piece of legislation that I had the honor of contributing to and voting on had to do with ending child marriages in Trinidad and Tobago. Many persons were not aware that prior to 2017, in my country, it was totally acceptable for children to be married off to big hardback man and woman. That was a reality. And because I had been operating in that civil society space for as long as I had been, and understanding some of the challenges being faced by young people, it made the opportunity that I got that much sweeter. And during the course of 2017, I continued to occupy a seat in the Senate on and off, and debated many pieces of legislation, things dealing with the criminal justice system, things doing or dealing with financial matters, and so on. And it really inspired me that this was where I needed to be. Because I know many times people say, how do you know when you have come across your calling? How do you know when you have been called to something higher, something beyond yourself? I just knew it in my bones that this is what I was meant to do. And then in 2018, January 2018, I was also called by the president to serve on the procurement board of Trinidad and Tobago, the first of its kind, and also being the youngest member of that board. Over the past couple of years, I've had many experiences that I think prepared me to take the bold step that I took, because I recognize that the two political entities, the major political entities in Trinidad and Tobago, was not as responsive as it needed to be to the needs of the citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And I had an option, I had a choice. I could have simply been another person who sits on the sidelines and complains and quarrels and points fingers and does absolutely nothing about it. I could have been another person who says, you know what, I'm just not going to vote, and somehow magically expect that to make a difference in the country. I could have been just another person who keeps his head low, minds his business, goes to work every day, does what he needs to do to survive, and don't care about anyone else, because it's simply about how can I get by. But I also had another option: stand up and be counted. And I knew that I was called to something bigger. And so in 2017, I decided to register, still not sure, but decided to register the symbol of the Progressive Party with the Elections and Boundaries Commission. And I gave myself enough time to question whether or not this was the right decision. So 2 years had passed. And in those 2 years, I was working on the constitution of the Progressive Party, keeping this very quiet, only my family and close friends knowing about what I was doing. And in 2019, this year, I decided that it was time to take this thing live. And on the 16th of June, 2019, I launched the Progressive Party. Of course, amidst criticisms and suspicions and people saying that doomed to fail because we live in a two-party system. But despite all of that, I understood that there was a growing middle. People who were simply fed up with the way that things were going, and they wanted an option. And I decided to create that platform, much like what is being done here tonight. And I am expecting citizens to see this as an option for them. It's not simply about what does Nikoli have to say on the issues or what can Nikoli actually do. But it should be about how can I use this platform that Nikoli has created to advance a vision for my country. Much the same way that you all should be seeing the citizenship initiative. It is not simply about these individuals. It is about the fact that they have created a platform and are now looking to the citizens of Guyana to step forward and to be a part of it. So, the same way that I don't necessarily want persons to simply criticize the Progressive Party, but rather step forward and help build this, because it should be reflective of the citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. It's the same way I want to lend this encouragement to the citizenship initiative, where hopefully the citizens of Guyana who have decided in years gone by not to vote or not to support any party or any politician that comes around would decide to step forward and lend their support to something. And support does not only mean finances. Many a times we feel as though, well, I don't have money to contribute to that, and you must have a big businessman backing you and all of these things. By simply deciding one day to pass out flyers, by simply deciding one day to tell a co-worker about this new party that you heard, by simply deciding, because I'm a tradesman or a small business owner, I have something to contribute, whether it be a case of water or whether it be the option to print 20 jerseys or to give $100 or in this case $1,000. Those small things add up. And this has to genuinely be a citizenship initiative. So with the Progressive Party, the intention is to contest all 41 seats in the 2020 general election in Trinidad and Tobago. And some people may be saying, well, how are you going to fund that and how are you going to organize and so forth? Well, the fact is that we live in 2019, where it's that much easier to get a message out, thanks to social media, thanks to networking. So for one, the kind of money that would have been spent on an election, let's say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, is not the same kind of money that would be needed for an election campaign in 2020. We are all connected and we need to leverage on that. So I am going full steam ahead with my team to contest the 2020 general elections. And our success will be determined by the people of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. If that means getting just enough seats to form the opposition, or even just one seat in Parliament, that would be the start of something. And that's how we need to see it. Trinidad and Tobago, much like Guyana, has so much potential. And we need to start to see the potential of our countries being realized. We cannot sit and expect our matters to be dealt with by persons who are ill-suited to fit in the positions for which they occupy. We need to start to look among ourselves and identify individuals who we know may make a better Minister of Finance, or a better minister who has responsibility for social issues or national security. Why are we spending money on educating ourselves and taking up positions in society if not for a higher purpose, a higher calling? We need to trust ourselves and our abilities. Because the individuals who currently occupy spaces in parliaments across the Caribbean, they have the confidence in themselves. And the reason why a political party may lose an election is not necessarily only because the party for which it is opposing is stronger. It's because the individuals who surround the party that lost did not have the tenacity, the wherewithal, the confidence in themselves to push forward. Because I'll state it like this. If you go to a line of businesses, a line of restaurants, or a stall, someone selling at the side of the road, the first one that you would consider going to would probably be the one that has the most amount of people at its doorstep. Not so? because you feel as though everyone is shopping there, so that might be the best option. If we all go with that mindset and no one ventures to try something different, we would be losing out on a huge opportunity. Because if one person walks over and tries something different, and then 2 persons, and then 3 persons, and we start to spread word among ourselves that this is a good product, then you would see how the tables will turn. And that's what we need. I think it is laudable that you all have decided to come out here today. You are the ones who are going to take this citizenship initiative forward. You are the individuals who now have to go back and speak to your family and speak to your friends and say, let's give this a try. Because you have to ask yourself the question, how much more can we take before we break? So I want to extend the best of wishes to the Citizenship Initiative. I think that as we move across the Caribbean, the appetite for new political change, for something different, will be whet. Because I had recently only been invited to both Antigua and Barbuda and to St. Lucia to speak at trade union events being held for youth. I've met with prime ministers and presidents across this globe. I have been highly active on the youth front, and I think that it is high time that I take all of those experiences and ensure that Trinidad and Tobago benefits from it. Much the same way that these individuals, they have excelled in their fields. They have decided that Guyana, for them, needs to be on a new frontier, and they have stepped forward. So I encourage you all, and I lend the support of the Progressive Party, because I think that once we all work together, pool our resources, pool our expertise, there will absolutely be nothing that will stop this new wave of exciting times that is going to hit the Caribbean from coming on board. So I'm humbled for the opportunity, and I know that we will do what we set out to do. Even if it does not happen tomorrow, or the day after, or the day after that, we have to keep on keeping on. Thank you so much.